Good evening, glad that you are watching your channel of choice on TV 47 News tonight. Tonight, Chief Justice Koome highlights 9 key issues at the center of Azimio's presidential petition as the Apex Court starts hearing tomorrow.
And we received 25 preliminary issues in form of interlocutory applications.
Also tonight, Supreme Court orders vote scrutiny and recount in 15 polling stations within 48 hours.
There are some who are seeking different orders relating to the scrutiny of the votes.
Plus, Fernandez Barasa and Abdul Samad Sharif win Kakamega and Mombasa governor race respectively.
Mombasa niko tayari kufanya kazi na yoyote.
I want to appreciate watu wa Kakamega for not disappointing our party leader.
This as Malala and Hassan concede defeat, and motorists will be required to acquire digital number plates within 18 months at a cost of 3,000 shillings. Mini Mbesa is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight, President-elect William Ruto's victory will be put to test tomorrow when the country's Apex Court commences hearing of a petition filed by Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga. The Apex Court, which held a pre-trial conference on Tuesday, cited 9 key issues, among them whether or not Ruto attained the 50+1 constitutional threshold, which will guide it in making its decision on whether to annul or uphold his victory. Our senior political affairs reporter Apollo Kamau begins our broadcast tonight.
In what will be a make-or-break moment for President-elect William Ruto, the 7-judge bench flagged 9 key issues which will assist the country's Apex Court rule whether to uphold or annul Ruto's August 9 victory. With the IEBC squarely on the spot on how it conducted the election, the question of whether or not President-elect William Ruto attained the 50+1 vote of all the votes cast will be considered by the court. Whether or not there were irregularities and illegalities of such magnitude as to affect the final result of the presidential election, whether or not there was interference with the uploading and transmission of Form 34A from the polling stations to the IEBC public portal, whether or not there was a difference between Form 34A uploaded on the IEBC public portal and the Form 34A received at the National Tallying Center and Form 34A issued to the agents at the polling stations, whether or not the postponement of gubernatorial elections in Kakamega and Mombasa counties, parliamentary elections in 4 constituencies, and electoral wards resulted in voter suppression to the detriment of Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga, whether or not the technology deployed by the IEBC in the conduct of the election met the standards of integrity, verifiability, security, and transparency to guarantee accurate and verifiable results, whether or not IEBC carried out the verification, tallying, and declaration of results in accordance with the Constitution, reliefs and orders to be granted by the court. Ahead of the main hearing, the Supreme Court granted Odinga and 6 other petitioners supervised access to servers storing the forensic image of Form 34C, which includes the total votes cast as presented at the National Tallying Center Bomas of Kenya and ballot boxes for 15 polling stations for scrutiny and recount. IEBC was also ordered to surrender information on system users, tallying and transmission of results software. Apol Kamau, TV 47.
Now, the Supreme Court has ordered the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to allow Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition open 15 ballot boxes in contention for inspection, scrutiny, and recount. The exercise under strict supervision will be conducted within 48 hours, where 2 agents, 2 from Azimio and 2 from Kenya Kwanza, will be present. Stanley Nyangirita reports.
The request by DP Ruto to bar the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, from being enjoined in the 2022 presidential election petition was quashed. This follows a ruling by the Supreme Court that the society had been admitted as amicus curiae and will not make oral submissions and shall rely solely on its written brief. The list of the friends of the court will also see Dr. Joseph Sevilla, Martin Mirero and John Walubengo after the Apex Court allowed the application seeking leave to be joined in the petition as amici curiae. The application by the Attorney General seeking leave to admit the replying affidavits of Dr. Joseph K. Kinyua and Dr. Kennedy was also admitted. The court ruled that the allegations made by Wafula Chebukati, Abdi Gulie and Boya Molu are contained in the affidavits and it will be fair to file them. Also allowed was the application to admit on record the replying affidavits of the 4 dissenting IBC commissioners, Juliana Cherera, Justus Nyang'aya, Francis Wanderi and Irene Samit, who disowned the results of the presidential election. The Supreme Court ordered the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to let Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition open 15 ballot boxes in contention for inspection, scrutiny and recount. The Apex Court ordered that the exercise be conducted within the next 48 hours in the presence of 2 agents from both the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja.
Server, Mr. Kilukumi, I think I don't have the orders here, but the last order allowed 2 agents from every interested party to appear at the centers, whether it is at Forodha House or at IBC, and that resolves Mr. Katwa Kigen's question on venue. I think from the orders, you can only have 2 venues, one at IBC and one at Forodha House, where the Section 12 documents are.
Each party shall be represented by 2 agents during the exercises, and they shall at times be under the supervision of the Registrar of the Court and her staff. The said stations are Nandi Hills, Sinendeti Primary School in Nandi, Belgut, Kapsuser and Chepkutum Primary Schools in Kericho County, Jomvu, Mikindani and Ministry of Water Tanks polling stations in Mombasa County. Others are Mvita, Majengo and Mvita Primary Schools in Mombasa County, Tinderet Konmo in Nandi County, Jarok, Gadhanji and Kiheo Primary School polling in Nyandarua County.
Contested polling stations, I think that's resolved. You will give the list to the registrar and to the applicants and to the IEBC by close of business today. On prayer number 7, that is a typo. The reference is to forms 32As and 34As.
Further, the court ordered IBC to avail the full KPMG report on the register of voters, a full audit report on the technology used, and the report of the vendor, due diligence and technology used in the general election on the 9th of August 2022. However, the Apex Court struck out the petition from former Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria and former Mbeere South MP Geoffrey Kingangi, allies of Dr. Ruto, who had filed a petition urging the Apex Court to throw out Raila Odinga's suit on the grounds that he was involved in the election malpractices. The 7-judge bench also rejected the application by Agano Party leader and presidential candidate David Mwaure to be enjoined in the case. The petition by presidential candidate Raila Odinga, among 8 others, is seeking to challenge the results of the August 9th polls that saw Deputy President William Ruto declared president-elect with 50.49% of the votes cast. Stanley Nyaringita, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Stanley Nyaringita, for that report. Now, it was a big blow for President-elect William Ruto after 2 of his prayers were struck out by the Supreme Court. In the prayers, Ruto wanted the court to add more time for their pleadings, and the 4 dissenting IEBC officers barred from the presidential petition, citing that they were second-tier petitioners and may affect the outcome of the final ruling. The court, which also barred IEBC's request for additional time, has reiterated that the 2 presidential teams shall be given a maximum of 3 hours to represent their pleadings. Chepto Oboit with the details.
Madam Chief Justice, The Supreme Court has declined a request by lawyers in the petition challenging President-elect William Ruto's team to be allocated more time for their pleadings. The 7-judge bench, led by Chief Justice Martha Koome, has reiterated that the court will not grant additional time due to time constraints. The ruling comes after President-elect William Ruto's team and IEBC's Commissioner Abdi Guliye asked the court for more time to table their arguments, but the court has given a maximum of 3 hours.
The request for additional time by counsel for the first, second and the 9th respondents over and above the time allocated and issued earlier this morning is hereby declined.
It's a big win for IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati's faction after the Supreme Court has settled on former Attorney General Professor Githu Muigai to represent the IEBC in the petition. The Apex Court made the ruling after Professor Githu Muigai and senior counsel Paul Muite, who represents IEBC Deputy Chairperson Juliana Cherera's faction, argued during the morning session that they are going to represent the commission. Initially, the court had asked electoral agencies who are in commission to resolve their internal wrangles outside the court before settling on Professor Githu Muigai.
The notice of appointment filed by ISA and company advocates is struck out. The 4 commissioners are at liberty to deploy and utilize the services of senior counsel Paul Muite and Isa Mansour advocate if they deem it necessary.
There was another blow to President-elect William Ruto after the court barred his prayer of locking out IEBC commissioners from the presidential petition. Ruto wanted affidavits filed by the 4 dissenting IEBC commissioners struck out from the Azimio la Umoja petition, citing that they are second-tier petitioners and may affect the outcome of the ruling.
Learned counsel for the first respondent, the Honorable William Samoei Ruto, has informally applied for leave to respond to 2 affidavits presented by the Attorney General in petition number E007 of 2022. With effect from today, the 30th day of August 2022, 2 p.m., as indicated in paragraph 3 above, the court will not entertain any further lodgement of pleadings.
Chepto Boyd, TV 47, Nairobi.
Well, still in the corridors of justice, and Chief Justice Martha Koome began the pre-trial of the hearing of the presidential petition by giving out a set of guidelines that will lock out a number of parties from the court. The Chief Justice says that they had to restrict the number of people inside the court owing to limited space and for security purposes.
The pre-trial of the presidential petition took place Tuesday, but first a set of guidelines that are to be adhered to during the proceedings were read by Chief Justice Martha Koome.
Yes, for the 8 petitions.
From the directions, only a chosen few will be expected inside the court, and this is mainly due to space constraints. Each side will be allowed 4 lawyers who will be present inside the court during the hearing of the petition.
Unfortunately, due to constrained space that we are operating from, we could not accommodate very many people. You can all see we are all required to observe the COVID-19 protocols. We also have to be mindful of security and the constrained time, and therefore we were forced to limit the number of the counsel who can appear at any given time, but parties are free and at liberty to have as many counsel as they could. We'll try to accommodate as many as we can in the speed of a room, court number 1, where they can follow the proceedings and continue assisting counsel who are in the plenary.
The Kenya Kwanza coalition has a team of 54 lawyers and at least 5 technical members to battle the election petitions. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, on the other hand, will be represented by a battery of 38 lawyers.
We thank the media also for coming to stream the proceedings online to assist Kenyans and all people from all over the world who are watching and following these proceedings across Africa and across the world.
We should be in these proceedings.
Senior counsels James Orengo, Feroz Neroji, Philip Morgor and Okongo Omogeni will be the lead counsels in the Supreme Court petition filed by Raila against President-elect William Ruto.
Here together with my learned friend Professor Kindiki.
Ruto's legal team will be led by Senior Counsel Fred Ngatia, Kioko Kilukumi and Professor Kithure Kindiki. The IEBC, which has 7 commissioners who have individually filed submissions and affidavits, will only be presented by one legal counsel during the hearing of the petition. The rest of the petitions challenging the validity of the presidential outcome and pushing for the nullification of the results will be presented by 2 lawyers each in the presidential petition. Each of the amicus curiae, including the LSK Senior Bar Counsel, Attorney General, ICJ Kenya, John Walubengo, Joseph Sevilla, and Martin Mirero, will be represented by an attorney. All the 7 judges will be present for the hearing and determination of the petitions. This is unlike in 2017, where a 6-judge bench heard and determined the petition after Justice Ibrahim Mohammed opted out due to health challenges.
If there is time that is unspent by the council,
Kenyans have been advised to follow the proceedings through the media. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
For the court to share it out.
Moving on, Vita Member of Parliament Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir is the new Mombasa governor-elect. Nasir won the gubernatorial race after garnering 119,083 votes, followed by his UDA main rival Hassan Omar Sarai, who garnered 98,108 votes. Nasir has promised to unite the residents of Mombasa as well as spearhead the county's economic growth, and Rinkilemi reports.
The hotly contested Mombasa gubernatorial race has seen ODM's candidate Abdul Samad Sharif emerge the winner. The Mvita Member of Parliament was announced Mombasa's governor-elect after garnering 119,083 votes, trouncing his UDA counterpart Hassan Omar Sarai with over 20,000 votes.
Mimi kama Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir ni wa kwanza kunyosha mkono kuambia ya kwa hata baada ya matusi yote niko tayari kufanya kazi na yoyote Mombasa tupeleke mbele. Tumewashinda tujawashinda, tumewawai tujawawai, tumewatia maji tujawatia maji. Hamjatuaibisha, mmetusaidia sana, na mimi kama mwenyekiti wa chama cha ODM ninasema asante sana. Watu wa Mombasa wanataka mabadiliko, na mimi nina hakika kwa wewe utaleta haya mabadiliko.
The Mombasa gubernatorial race had attracted a total of 7 contestants, including Hezron Awiti of Vibrant Democratic Party, who garnered 875 votes, William Kingi of the Pamoja African Alliance with 712 votes, Upia's Shafi Makazi with 633 votes, Daniel Kitao, who went for the county's top seat on an independent ticket with 402 votes, and Said Abdallah of Usawa kwa Wote Party, who garnered 338 votes.
Tunafurahia maana tunajua sisi kama vijana kuna opportunity za kazi hapa, tuko na matumaini tunaenda kupata, na wagombea wengine ambao wameshindwa tunawaambia wajiunge, tufanye kazi kwa pamoja na tudumishe amani.
Mungu ambariki, afanye kazi yake vile alivyoahidi, yale manifesto yake yote atimize.
Mnajua hizi takataka ambazo ziko hapa Mombasa, najua anaweza. Na Sharif Nasir pia anapenda mambo na masomo. Najua vijana wa Mombasa watasoma, na mimi nafurahia kuchagua gavana wangu Sharif Nasir.
While addressing residents in Mombasa County, Abdul Samad Sharif, who was accompanied by other Azimio One Kenya leaders, expressed his optimism regarding the presidential petition case, saying that victory would be given to the Azimio One Kenya.
Mujitayarishe
Manake mimi nina hakika baada ya siku 65 kutakuwa election ya pili, na mara hii tunapeleka Raila wapi?
We believe ushindi utakuwa wa ODM Azimio, na Raila Amolo Odinga atapewa victory na kiti yake.
Hivi karibuni judgment ya Supreme Court itatoka, na itatoka iseme ni Raila Amolo Odinga.
The 7-judge bench led by Chief Justice Martha Koome will Wednesday commence a full trial of the petition. Andrina Kilemi, TV 47.
Now, Kakamega County was painted blue today as ODM's Fernandez Barasa bagged the gubernatorial seat, trouncing the incumbent Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala. And as Barasa flew the flag high, he is still hopeful that the Supreme Court will rule in favor of Azimio's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga as the president-elect.
The much-awaited neck-to-neck race to replace Kakamega's outgoing governor Wycliffe Oparanya revealed that Kakamega County is a battleground for both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza alliances. These as Fernandez Barasa garnered 192,929 votes, followed closely by ANC's Cleophas Malala, who got 159,508 votes, showcasing a difference of at least 33,000 votes.
I want to appreciate watu wa Kakamega for not disappointing our party leader, kwa sababu Kakamega ni ngome ya Azimio.
Even as the hotly contested race was postponed by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission twice, the outgoing governor did not take the move lightly, terming it as a plot for voter apathy in the region in the August 9th polls.
That this election was postponed by IBC in order to make sure that Kakamega people do not come out in large numbers to vote for Raila Amolo Odinga. And we knew that they wanted this seat to go to Kenya Kwanza. But through your efforts and our efforts, the seat has remained where it belonged, as Azimio.
Shortly after IEBC announced the gubernatorial results for the race, Malala conceded defeat, promising to support the incoming governor, dusting his feet and promising to be back and try his luck again in the next general election.
Bali matokeo, sababu katiba yetu inatuambia kwamba uchaguzi utafanywa kila miaka 5 na kutakuwa na mshindi na yule ambaye ameshindwa. So sisi tumekubali matokeo. Na tumekubali kama vichwa vyetu viko juu kabisa.
Even as the apex court is yet to determine the presidential petition, Barasa was quite hopeful that it will rule in Azimio's favor and declare Raila as the president-elect after the August 9th polls.
We are looking forward on the 5th of September to have a duly elected President of the Republic of Kenya, whom I believe the Supreme Court will announce Raila Amolo Odinga.
Muthoni Maina, TV 47.
Now, barely a week after being sworn into office, first-time governors and their re-elected counterparts alike have already begun making changes in their various administrations ahead of their 5-year tenure. In Migori County, for instance, Governor Ochilo Ayako has put lazy county workers on notice, as Turkana's governor also made changes to the county executive team. Zainab Mohammed has the details.
Migori County Governor Ochilo Ayako has urged rioting county workers to return to work and serve the people of Migori, vowing not to spare lazy workers in his administration. The second governor of Migori also promised to only pay verifiable bills, vowing to fight graft.
From the reports that I've received, we have quite a sizable chunk of pending bills. that we need to verify and pay if they are payable. We also have challenges in staff establishment.
In Nyandarua County, Governor Dr. Kiarie Badilisha made an impromptu visit to the J.M. Kariuki Referral Hospital, observing that the health sector is a critical agenda in his administration. The governor has promised to set up a satellite office at the hospital in order to follow closely the challenges affecting the hospital.
Hospitali hii ndio tegemeo ya watu wa eneo hii. Na tumekuwa tukisikia mambo mengi kuhusu services hapa, ndio tukakuja kujionea. Kitu cha kufurahisha ni kwamba naona kuna madaktari wale youthful doctors na wanafanya kazi mzuri.
Re-elected Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o hosted U.S. Ambassador Margaret Whitman in a diplomatic visit aimed at reviving humanitarian-funded projects undertaken by the Center for Disease Control. The ambassador assured the governor that the advisory alert issued by the U.S. during elections was not targeting Kisumu County only, but areas where its citizens are residing, Kisumu being one of them.
Been working many years together in Kisumu on PEPFAR, HIV/AIDS, malaria, all kinds of different tropical diseases. And that work continues. In fact, we are, the funding actually has not been reduced. Certainly it has not been reduced in Africa broadly, and I don't believe it's been reduced here in Kenya.
And in Kitui County, Governor Dr. Julius Malombe led county staff, cabinet members, representative of the business community, youth and persons with disability in an interdenominational prayer session at the governor's office complex in Kitui town. The prayers were led by Kitui Catholic Diocese Bishop Joseph Mwongela in conjunction with a host of clergymen from other denominations across the county. Finally, Turkana Governor Jeremiah Lomorukai has made changes to the county executives, stating the need to improve service delivery for the benefit of the people of Turkana County. Among the changes made include the appointment of new officers and the reshuffling of others.
Captain retired Augustine Lokwanga Kitela retained in the office of the county governor. Mrs. Esther Ikaru retained in the Ministry of Public Service, Administration and Disaster Management. Ms. Stella Lochodo, currently County Chief Officer for Tourism, Culture, Environment and Energy and Natural Resources, transferred to Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning.
Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Now it was a contest between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja in the Kacheliba, Rongai, Kitui Rural and South Pokot parliamentary races. While UDA won the Rongai seat, KUP coup of former Governor Professor John Loyangapu dominated in West Pokot's Kacheliba and South Pokot, while Wiper retained Kitui Rural constituency. Paul Muniu reports.
In Kitui Rural Parliamentary Race, Wiper Party's David Mwalika was declared the winner in the just concluded mini poll held on Monday. Mwalika garnered 19,735 of the total votes, defeating his competitor Charles Nyamai of UDA, who garnered 10,178 votes. It was a two-horse race in the constituency. In Rongai constituency, Nakuru County Paul Chebor of UDA party has been duly elected as the member of National Assembly after defeating his two counterparts, including the incumbent member of parliament Raymond Moy of Kanu and Luka Kigen of Chama Mashinani. Paul Chebor secured the win with 27,021 of total votes cast. In Kacheliba constituency, West Pokot County Titus Lote of Kenya Union Party will represent the constituency in the National Assembly after emerging the winner with 20,073 total votes cast in the race that had attracted the incumbent member of parliament Mark Lomunokol, who garnered 17,963, and John Lokitare, who finished third with 1,446 votes.
Nataka kuhakikishia Wakacheliba wote kwamba mimi
nitafanya yote ambayo nilisema nitayafanya.
In South Pokot, out of 46,200 votes cast yesterday, 28,225 were cast in favor of David Kosin of Kenya Union Party retaining his seat.
In the history of Pokot, this is a landslide win. A landslide win.
As he defeated Simon Kalekem of UDA, who got 15,298. Other mini polls were held in Nyaki Ward in Meru County, where Frederick Mubichi of UDA emerged the winner, and Kwanjenga Ward in Embakasi, where independent candidate Kirango Kimondo emerged the winner, garnering 2,098 votes. Paul, Monio TV 47.
Thank you, Paul, for that report. You're watching TV 47 News tonight. Time for us to take a short break. Stay with us.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
At Streisand School of Medical Health Science and Technology, we prepare the change makers of tomorrow by training them in theater technology, medical engineering, science laboratory and health records, applied biology, environmental health science, nutrition and dietetics, ICT, counseling psychology, and many more. Enroll with us today and take a certificate or diploma course. Visit our campuses in Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay and get your career going.
Kaluma King Herbal Lozenges zinazo nguvu maradufu kutuliza kikohozi, vidonda vya koo na mafua. Kaluma King ni shwari.
Tika mama huyo muharifu kaiba kuku zangu, vifaranga wangu na mayai zote pia kabeba. Haya, tika mama huyo.
Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to more news. And as Kenya joins the world in marking the International Day of Victims of Enforced Disappearance, a family in Nairobi's Kayole area is pleading with security agencies to help them find their kin who went missing on the 25th of this month. Our reporter Elizabeth Atieno caught up with the affected family and has filed the following report.
In Nairobi's Kayole area, we meet 23-year-old Pauline Anyango and 59-year-old Waidera Masharia, who welcome us to their humble home. Pamela goes on with her day-to-day activities as her mother-in-law lends her a helping hand. These two women might have the strength to do their house chores, but their strength drastically decreases each time they come across any of 24-year-old Samuel Kamau's belonging. Samuel Kamau, a boda operator, went missing on Thursday the 25th of this month around noon. He was to later have his last phone call conversation with his wife Pamela at around 9 p.m. on that fateful day.
Samuel Kamau alitoka on 25, ilikuwa on Thursday around saa 6, na akitoka aliniambia nenda kwa mama. Around ikifika saa 3 nilimpigia nikamuuliza anafaa kutuma do ya sapa. Kumpigia hiyo saa 3 akanitumia. Nikamuuliza unakuja? Akaniambia nakuja. Venye alinini sikupiga tena. On Friday, ilikuwa on Friday morning 6 a.m. nikampigia simu kumpigia simu Kamau akushika.
On Friday the 26th, just hours after Kamau went mum, his wife Pamela was visited by 3 of Kamau's friends, and she was informed that her husband was allegedly arrested by police officers and taken to Matopeni police station. And when they visited the police station, they were informed that it appeared to be a case of mistaken identity.
Tukaenda Molem tukumpata. Ndo tukarudi tukaulizia wale watu wa pikipiki kama kuna issue yoyote imeonekana hii area. Wakatuelezea kama walikimbizwa, walikuwa vijana wawili. Kukimbizwa walishikiwa na huko nyuma. Alibebwa, alikuwa amepigwa kidogo tu ile ya kuguzwa, na alipigwa na polisi. Ule alimshika akamuingiza ndani ya boot.
Walikuwa ni maofisa, lakini mmoja alikuwa amevaa hii rasta ya kushonelewa na ni polisi. Tukauliza kweli kama ni polisi, wakasema ni askari. Wakasema walikuwa vijana wawili hao, huyo na wakaenda hapo nyuma ya hiyo supermarket. Hapo ndio walimshikia, juu alisema yeye atakimbia kama huyu mwingine amekimbia. Yeye atasimama juana kitu yoyote. Sasa vile alisema hata simama yote, akaambiwa yeye naye akatoka akaanza kutembea polepole akisemanga mimi sina kitu yoyote. Alafu sasa wakamwambia wewe ndio tunatafuta, ndio wakaanza kumgonga wakampeleka wakamuingiza kwa buti.
Pamela and Waithera have visited all police stations in the area, including Kayole Police Station, where they reported the incident under OB number 29, dated the 28th of August 2022. Their search would later lead them to a place where they least expected, the city mortuary.
Kufusia that day, tukamkia the next day, jana Monday, tulilala. Kwa mkia Monday, tukasema acha tuende city mortuary. Tukaenda city mortuary, tukatolewa mwili zote zilikuwa hapo, zile zenye unknown hatukumpata, hata niliacha namba city mortuary. Tukarudi Kenyatta University, hapo Kenyatta mnini hospital. Kenyatta Hospital tukaandikiwa, hata nina barua. Kenyatta Hospital kuangalia kwa kila wards, tuliangalia ward A, 5A na 4C, 5D na 5B, ward zote hatukumpata. Tukaangalia ICU tukumpata. Tukarudi mochari ya Kenyatta. Ile mwili tuliambiwa tuangalie hatukumuona. Sasa tulirudi home jana. Kutoka jana ndo tumeamkia leo.
This motorbike parked at Kamau's doorstep is the only memory left of him, and each time his mother and wife get a glimpse of it, their emotions become unsettled.
Mimi ningependa haki itendeke, maana sasa hata kama mtu amefanya makosa, ingefaa hata mtu awe anashikwa, anapelekwa mahali pale panatakikana na anaonyesha ubaya yake juu hakuna mtu hawezi badilika.
Kamau is among hundreds of victims of enforced disappearance in the country. As of August this year, 75 people have allegedly disappeared while in lawful custody. The situation was worse in 2021, where 219 cases of extrajudicial killings or enforced disappearance were reported. In 2020, 168 deaths or disappearance at the hands of law enforcers were reported. 158 of the people were killed while 10 disappeared in police custody. Between January 2019 and August 2020, the country recorded some 267 deaths linked to unlawful use of force by police.
It's unclear why the numbers increased so much over 2021. What we do know is that about 70% of the cases involve people who are suspected of serious crimes. And the other 30%, most of that is people who were suspected of being involved in terrorism.
We need post-mortem examinations on all those bodies to identify the cause of death. And that will be the beginning of the path for justice and accountability.
Despite Kenya having a progressive constitution and numerous pieces of legislation to ensure that police officers discharge their duties with due regard of human rights and respect for the rule of law, acts of enforced disappearance and extrajudicial killings are still rampant, especially among the male gender.
So our concern as we lean into this new government, this new national government is to call for an end to enforced disappearances. It is not legal for people to be denied the right to life, denied freedom from torture, or even a fair trial. So we have to, in this moment, call for an end to enforced disappearances.
Victims of enforced disappearance who go missing when forcefully taken by state officials are often never released and are frequently tortured, killed, or live in constant fear of being killed. And if they're lucky enough to escape death, the physical and psychological scars stay with them forever.
It is in this particular spot where 24-year-old Samuel Kamau was allegedly abducted by armed men believed to be police officers about 5 days ago. And as Kenya joins the world in marking International Day of Victims of Enforced Disappearance, his whereabouts still remain unknown. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47 from Kayole, Nairobi.
Now, the 2022 general election dealt a big blow to the Moi name politically. Gideon Moi lost the Baringo senatorial seat. His elder brother defeated in the Rongai parliamentary seat. And as our very own Moige William now interrogates, he looks at the future of the once powerful political name and the future of the country's independence party, KANU.
Taking after their late father, the second head of state, Daniel Arap Moi, Mzee's last-born son, Gideon Moi, together with his elder brother, got into the murky world of politics. Gideon Moi was the first among the Mois to dare be like their father, taking up the parliamentary seat of Baringo Central, a constituency the late President Moi served for 39 years. Getting it easy by the fact that his father was president, Gideon easily captured the Baringo Central MP, serving from 2003 up to 2013, before being elected as the first senator of Baringo County and later making a move for the country's top seat before dropping his bid and supported Raila Odinga. His fall, quick as he had risen, befell him in his third quest to be a senator, with the William Ruto-led UDA wave sweeping Rift Valley.
Fire begets ash. Moi was a tough man. His children are not tough. Look at another one has just lost in Rongai. I know there was an onslaught on him. But if my father is the president of Kenya, you cannot remove me from a small constituency. You cannot. How? I told you, how can Uhuru be defeated in his own Ishaweri village? You know, these oligarchs, they all behave in the same manner. They rarely get in touch with the people. And that's why William Ruto finds it very easy to deal with them.
Gideon's defeat in the recently concluded general election is seen as a win for President-elect William Ruto, who for some time has been embroiled in a supremacy battle with the Mois on who will lead the Rift Valley region.
And I can sympathize with Gideon because him more than anybody else will be Ruto's target. Because Ruto must have complete control of the Rift Valley. He already has, but just to make sure nobody else can come from the sides and confuse people. Because now you see, when you are drowning, then you may now wake up from class and decide you want to be a little more active. And you could end up confusing a few people.
The Moi family, which is a big business family in this country, what it means to the family, which runs a litany of business companies in this country with huge business interests, not just in Kenya but across the region, is that they would be doing their business and doing their politics from behind the scenes. They will not be taking the front platform on matters of politics.
With the postponement of the parliamentary election in Rongai constituency, the mini polls served as the final nail in the wearing off of the Moi name in the political spectrum, as Raymond Moi, even before the polls, lamented about the heavy machinery deployed by the Ruto-led UDA to campaign against him, eventually losing the MP seat. Raymond served the area from 2013.
I think Raymond Moi was a victim of the strong UDA Kenya Kwanza wave, as opposed to those who thought that he had performed in the last 10 years and should be retained.
Is this a writing on the wall? Is it the end of the Mois in as far as politics is concerned?
You know, politics is an interesting game. You could think somebody is finished, but they could resurface. But on the face of it, when you just look at what's going, I think the Mois are finished. this could mark the end of the Mois. And I would advise them for free. For free. I used to call Gideon Moi a prince in waiting. And I always assumed the reason why Uhuru was supporting Raila was so that Raila may be a caretaker president the way Kibaki was, as Uhuru was being processed to become president. I would think Gideon will come after Raila Odinga. But he has done nothing to show that would be the case. So this is the end of the Mois.
The KANU party, which has been under the leadership of Gideon Moi, has not been spared, with its popularity dwindling over the years. The chama cha baba na mama has over the years been on a downward spiral, with political pundits alluding this to the leadership offered by its current chairperson, who is Gideon.
For the first years after Moi left, the name KANU was synonymous with all the problems Kenya has had. But I think that has since disappeared. In Malawi, the equivalent of KANU came back to power. So there's nothing really in terms of memories that stand in the way of KANU and greatness. So if KANU had leadership, it will just be great.
Going forward, in the next few days, we may see a situation where KANU, which is led by Gideon Moi, the former senator of Baringo County, approaching whichever party is going to take over the presidency.
Interestingly, Gideon Moi and his bitter political rival from the region, William Ruto, learned politics from the same teacher, the late president, who also referred to himself as the professor of politics. And as Ruto leads a successful political career, the same can hardly be said of Gideon.
So he must have known that once his brother William takes over, it will be very difficult for him to sustain himself in politics and in business, especially business.
Gideon Moi lost the senatorial seat to former Baringo North MP William Cheptumo, who vied on the UDA ticket, with Raymond Moi losing the Rongai parliamentary seat to Paul Chebor, also of UDA. Moige William, TV 47.
Elsewhere, the government has launched a new generation of digital number plates with inbuilt security features that allow for tracing of car ownerships by law enforcement agencies. The plates that comply with the amended Traffic Act of 2016 will bear additional features, some of which shall be visible physically and others only to security agencies.
The new generation number plates for motor vehicles unveiled by Interior CS Fred Matiang'i are set to serve as part of the measures to guarantee security against duplication. Speaking during the launch at GSU Reke Unit Headquarters in Juja, Kiambu County, where the plates are being produced, Interior CS Fred Matiang'i said the plates shall be fixed to vehicles imported to the country at the point of entry and will be synchronized with KRA systems to help read cases of tax evasion in car-selling businesses.
We're doing this because we want to increase the security of our country. That's why we said this project essentially is a process of securitizing motor vehicle registration as a way of addressing the security challenges we've had in the country, and as a way of ensuring that we are able to clean up our society as much as we can of wrongdoers and people whose intentions may not be good for our country. Secondly, we are doing this because we want to help other agencies in government, like the Kenya Revenue Authority, and the others to function effectively. Transport
CS James Masharia, on the other hand, said the new plate will cover 12 categories of vehicles in line with the Legal Notice 62 of 2016 and allow ease of monitoring vehicles coming into the country that ranks as a major transit hub in the region.
We launched, or rather we gazetted, what we call Legal Notice 62, number 62, in 2016. That legal notice was basically to say we are going to have new traffic number plates rules, which will cover about 12 categories of vehicles. And so today really is a very big milestone that what seemed a dream then has become a reality.
He further noted that vehicles in the country have risen significantly from 3.2 million last year to 4.8 million this year, hence the need to devise an easier way to track and monitor them.
2 years ago, the number of vehicles in this country were only about 3.2 million. Vehicles meaning, 4-wheel, 2 wheels, 3.2 million. Today is 4.8. And so, if you want to monitor the movement of vehicles within and across the borders, what you are doing today is actually very historic.
Kenyans will be required to acquire the new digital number plate at a cost of 3,000 shillings within the next 18 months, after which the government will begin a crackdown on non-compliant motorists.
We would take about a year or less than a year. The capability we have acquired here, we could actually do all the number plates and change all of them within 12 months. But because Kenyans do not like being harassed or hassled or pushed around, let's now agree that we should be able to complete the exercise inside the next 18 months.
Also present at the launch event was NTSA Director General George Njao, Commissioner General of Prisons John Warioba, Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibicho, among other senior government officials. Reporting for TV47, my name is Beatrice Watare.
Elsewhere, the United Nations, in collaboration with Kenyan government, has opened a service center which aims at providing good governance as required by the union and the agencies. Take a look.
Their initial visions and visionaries who gave us 140 acres.
The Director General of UNON, Ms. Zainab Bangura, for the opening of the Government of Kenya and the United Nations Service Center, which is intended to provide a broad range of government services required by UNON and other UN agencies to enable them achieve their mandate. I think we're all aware about the importance of this office, who was able to explain to us in some detail what we were dealing with, and we were absolutely flabbergasted. So in order to deal with the COVID-19 challenge, we set up a temporary multi-agency committee to try and keep humanitarian agencies supported and to help everyone navigate through that crisis.
From now henceforth, I don't think we should have a situation where staffers of the UN have got to go to the immigration office in town to sort out their problems, or any of the UN staffers have got to go to NTSA to sort out any issues related to their motor vehicles. We have had internal arrangements on how we are going to measure performance and delivery of the services we'll give to you, and we have all agreed that every service required here will be offered within a 12-hour cycle, and nothing should go beyond 12 hours. Because for the officers we are seconding here, there is nothing they are coming here except to serve.
Let's count the costs and get to the world of business now. And Family Bank Group has reported a remarkable 37.4% increase in profit before tax to 2.3 billion shillings from 1.7 billion shillings registered in the same period last year. The profit growth was driven by a 24% growth in net interest income to 6.1 billion shillings from 4.9 billion shillings. This growth was in line with a loan book growth of 19.3%, closing at 75.6 billion shillings from 63.4 billion shillings in June 2021. HFC Group has reported earnings of 0.26 shillings per share after increasing its net profit to 49.88 billion shillings in its half-year financial results. The group also recorded 10.5% increase in its interest income to 2.1 billion shillings as compared to 1.9 billion shillings in the previous year. Customer deposits grew by 3.4% from 37.8 billion shillings to 39.1 billion shillings in 2022, while total assets increased from 52.9 billion shillings to 55.7 billion shillings. The group's operating expenses have additionally decreased from 1.5 billion shillings, increased rather from 1.5 to 1.6 billion.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Hey!
Kaluma King Herbal Lozenges zinazo nguvu maradufu kutuliza kikohozi, vidonda vya koo na mafua. Kaluma King ni shwari.
Chika mama huyo muharifu kaiba kuku zangu, vifaranga wangu na mayai zote pia kabeba. Aya, chika mama huyo.
Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Welcome to The Grind. My name is Violet Njoki.
At first, it's always a tedious process at the beginning.
Do you know what it takes to even stay at a place in a business for that long?
Yeah.
So that triggered me, and I woke up and I was back onto my feet and I got new energy. Yes.
Every Monday at 7:30 p.m.
Despite being visually impaired, he is a jack of all trades. It is our quest to find answers on how to take care of children with special needs and those with disability. You do not need to see musical notes to understand music, but rather to have your soul feel the vibe.
Actually, for us to make a wheelchair, we have to take measurements of the user.
After doing my assessment, I get to know the parent, I get to know the heaviness she's carrying.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. From the world of business, let's get to sports news. Dennis Otiono is with us. Dennis, good evening. What a sporty day it was, or was it not?
Well, good evening to Abubakar Abdullahi. Now, indeed, like you said, it was actually a sporty day. We have sports ranging from cricket to matters football to the Concours d'Elegance, which is a car show. All sports stories that we're going to be updating you on tonight. And to start us off is matters cricket. Now, the national men's cricket team earlier today fell to a 13-runs defeat against Nepal in their 5th T20 cricket match at the Gymkhana grounds here in Nairobi. Kenya had hoped to win the series on their home turf, but Nepal were the first to bat and set a target score of 175, which Kenya failed to attain by scoring 144 points. Nepal ranked 14th in the Men's International Cricket Council ICC T20 standings, won the series 3-2 as Sandeep Lamichhane won the Man of the Series accolade. Now, speaking after the tournament, Kenya's captain Shem Ngoche lauded his colleagues, or rather his teammates, for their exemplary performance, stating that they have improved tremendously and remaining confident of registering good results in their upcoming fixtures.
But I think there's been a lot of positive in terms of our team. I think game by game we've been improving, and that's the main important thing for us. I think we gave them 20 extra runs. I think if we would have restricted them to around 150, 160, it would have been a very, very close game.
I think we're on the right track, and we should get there very, very soon. I just want to congratulate the two teams, the team from Nepal and of course our home team. They've done really, really well. They've been absent for a very long time. And I think what we've seen today, if this is what we should get used to, then I'm extremely delighted that cricket is truly back in our country.
Now, preparations for the Concours d'Elegance car show have intensified as the competition got a major financial boost following a 1.5 million sponsorship deal by the East African Breweries Limited, EABL. The competition will be held for the first time after a 2-year hiatus, with a total of 70 cars and 40 motorbikes expected to be lined up in the competition that will be held at the Nairobi Race Course on the 25th of September this year. Now, at the same time, the competition will be celebrating its 50th anniversary since its inception. Speaking during the signing of the sponsorship deal, Concours d'Elegance founder Bob Dewar termed the competition as a gathering set to appreciate the beauty of cars, as he urged motorsports fans to turn up in large numbers and spectate the event.
Thank you very much. Let's capture this. This, of course, is a 2022 partnership between
Concours d'Elegance, a gathering of elegance. Fast forward to the introduction of petrol-engined cars, and the Concours became competitive, and that's where it is today.
We are at a certain point where, the motor space, as it were, has sort of like bounced back in comparison to, what we had last year with the Safari Rally, right? And we've seen positive results so far.
Sports stakeholders in the country have called on new leaders elected in office in the devolved units to improve the standards of football in their respective counties by allocating more funds to sports and renovating sporting facilities. The stakeholders vehemently pointed out that dilapidated sports grounds have affected the teams and officials who end up picking up injuries, a situation they say ends up affecting football in the grassroots by demotivating the players. Speaking during a Division 2 League Northern Zone match in Embu County, Football Kenya Federation Embu Branch Deputy Chairperson Nicodemus Omasete stated that football teams in the area do not have access to the Moi Stadium, urging the governor-elect to address the issue. During the tournament, Embu County's FC Zehen and Machakos County's Scotlanders FC played out to a 2-2 draw at the Cameo Primary School.